When I was doing research about research, I looked at a lot of things, and one of them is a Time magazine special edition about happiness. That's how important happiness is now, of course. We all want to be happy. So I'm going to tell you some things that I found interesting, and then we're going to get into what you can do personally. Hi there. Welcome to this episode of the Talk Love with Carol show. It's episode 50. Today, we're talking about how to be happier. So I picked this topic because life is hard right now for a lot of people. We're at war. The stock market is doing its thing. Gas costs a lot. There's a lot of things. And we're coming out of that COVID time and kind of trying to navigate it. What's going on? So I want to talk about some research about happiness. And people have done lately a lot of research on happiness because the researchers realize this is a big thing. We want to make sure that we're doing what we need to do. By the way, I'm Dr. Carol Henry. I'm a psychologist and a relationship coach. And I do this, the Talk Love with Carol show, so that I can give you some tidbits about happiness. Oh, well, about lots of things, but today about happiness. So, as I said, in recent years, there's been a lot of research about happiness. What makes people happy, how we can make ourselves happy. We're going to talk about that today. So how can we get happier? Lots of people think it's money. Others think it's owning lots of toys, things like, cool sports cars and jet ski and snowmobile and stereo, all the things. And some think it's the jobs we have. And others think that it's children that make us happy. So let's explore what the research is telling us about these things. What I did when I was doing research about research, I looked at a lot of things, and one of them is a Time magazine special edition about happiness. That's how important happiness is now, of course. We all want to be happy. And they're trying to figure out what are some of the components that make people happy. So I'm going to tell you some things that I found interesting, and then we're going to get into what you can do personally. So one of the first things they reported on was the jobs people have. So which jobs contribute to people being happy, and which jobs contribute to people being unhappy. I'm going to start with the least happy jobs. I mean, it's not the jobs, it's the people, right? Okay. See if this makes sense to you. Gas station attendants, roofers, molding machine operators, construction workers, welfare service aides, and maids. Those people are the least happy with their work. When I read that, I thought, yeah, probably they don't make as much money and it's tedious, but I don't know. Construction may or may not be tedious, but I've never done it. So the happiest people in their jobs, number one, clergy, Number 2, firefighters. Number 3, ticket agents. I don't know much about ticket agents, but 4, architects. 5, special education teachers. I know that my daughter's one of those. She does love that work. And the last one I'm going to say is actors and directors. Those are, out of these little bit more than 100 different jobs, these were the top happy ones that people were happy about. Okay, so that's interesting, I hope. Money. Let's talk about money. Once people are making at least $72,000 a year, which is a lot in a lot of places, up until then, money was, getting more money made them happy. But after 72,000, the happiness, as they got more and more money, those people that did, they weren't any happier than the people making 72,000. Now, what's that about? And I think that 72,000 was an amount where you don't have to think about, you don't have to worry and about being, finding food and being able to shelter yourself. And so then all the other stuff was just extra, but it didn't make people happier. So I thought that was very interesting. People have that idea, money doesn't make happiness. And I guess that research is true. It does make life easier. So let's not pretend that's not true. But it doesn't make people happier. The other things, work. We found the jobs. We already talked about the jobs, but the happiest people were either people who worked full-time versus part-time or not at all, right? Full-time, and people that are retired. And what I know from people that are retired is that they tend to work at another job or something that interests them and really just makes them excited to do it, like nonprofit or, something like that. So family, the people in families that were the happiest, a little bit higher were people married with no kids, but not much less happy, almost as happy, were the people that are married that have kids in a happy marriage, both of those, of course. So then Time magazine also, gathered some research about worship, church. The happiest people tended to go to church nearly every week versus the people that went sometimes or the people that didn't go at all. So who knows what that means. And in age, as far as different ages and happiness, the people that are the happiest are people in their 50s and people that are retired. And so I was trying to think of what sense does that make? And then I realized people in their 30s, let's say, and 40s are really working hard. They're growing in their careers. Their kids are little, and then maybe up to middle school, and there's just a lot. So, and there's a lot for them to do every single day. So The other thing that there is in those age is a tendency to not be really focused on the relationship. And so that actually might contribute to the lack of being as happy as they could, because they don't have time, or they just have so many things to do that they just can't make the time. So anyway, so these are just some of those elements that influence our happiness. So I thought that's interesting and important. So how can we make ourselves happy, even joyful, despite if we're in the less than awesomely happy groups from above? I mean, that I've already talked about. So there's several of these that I'm going to report to you. And what these are is decisions you make, things to do that the research, this really is research-based completely. The research has shown contributes to people's happiness and joy. So doesn't that sound good? So, number one, when you spend money, spend it on experiences rather than stuff, right? When people buy things, they're happy, that spikes their happiness for maybe an hour or two. When they buy experiences, it lasts a long time. So experiences like tickets to a concert, take a class about something a hobby they've wanted to learn how to do better, go out to dinner with your partner. These are all social events, and they make us happy and spark joy. And they also spark memories. We don't really remember that picture, well, maybe a picture. I don't know, that blouse like, okay, I like it now. I'll like it for a couple weeks, and then, it's not something that creates memories. So spend your money on experiences. And let's say also spend your time on experiences, right? Okay. That was number one. Number two, take some time for self-care. Okay. I'm going to say for people in their 30s and 40s, take a little time for self-care. When I was in my 30s and 40s and my kids were little or kind of little, I used to just roll my eyes when people said that. Take care of yourself. And then I thought, wait a minute, I do some of that. And so I think this counts. I decided, I work out. I tried to work out every day, or most days, let's say. So I decided my self-care was going to be getting up at 5:45 a.m., driving to the gym, taking a class, coming back home, taking a shower, get the kids up for school, get them ready, da-da-da-da-da. Now that sounds like a drag, but it really wasn't. I was so happy that I got to take that class because it just set me up for the day. Later, when I decided that amount of driving was getting out of hand, then I met a friend of mine on the corner. We'd meet on the corner at 6 a.m. and go do our 3-mile walk. It's that kind of thing. Or do it on the weekend. Go to the gym on the weekend. Whatever it is you want to do. That's self-care. As you get more time, like when you're 50 and more, usually your kids are much more self-sufficient and you can spend more time. the idea that we have to take care of ourselves so that we can take care of other people is important, but also so we can take care of ourselves. We take care of ourselves so we can take care of ourselves. And by the way, that includes going to the, different medical appointments, the dentist, all the things. So now here comes some that are a little bit different. Spend time thinking about your strengths and how to use them in your relationship, your work, and your free time. A lot of the work that we do and the things that we notice as people tend to be our weaknesses. And it's important to work on some of those. Some of them we just have to accept. Like I'm very directionally challenged, and I can compensate for that with GPS. Thank heavens for that. But I really can't make that not be true. It just is true. So I'm fairly good at compensating for it, but I'm never going to be one of these people that just know what's north, south, east, and west, and what street, all that. So use your strengths and focus on them too. It's good to work on on those shortcomings that are workable. Like mine isn't. It really isn't. I've tried. But there's things that we just have. But there's plenty of things that are our strengths. And there's plenty of things that are shortcomings we can work on and should. But we're talking about happiness. Let's remember that using our strengths and being good, seeing how they come up in a relationship is really important. It can make you happy. So let's say you're super organized and you can make your house run just like a smooth machine. And now, of course, if you like to do that, or if it brings you happiness, great. There's things we can do that we don't like to do, so we're not talking about them. So anyway, it's that. The idea of strengths. What are your strengths, and how can you use them in your relationship? How can you use them at work and at your free time? That makes you happy. Okay. Now then, the next one is spend time doing charitable things for other people. And for happiness, it actually tends to be the happiest when you're doing it for your friends or your family. So doing special things or doing certain things for people when they need you, or just doing something because you feel like it. Charity is also important, but the happiness comes from especially doing things for your friends and your family. So the next one, this I'm going to call a pro tip because it's going to take me a bit to explain it, but it's really important and really good. So spend some time focusing on your relationship, looking at an argument that you had recently as if you were a third party. So imagine yourself looking at you and your partner and pretend you're a third party. How would that third party view that argument? And what keeps you from looking at it like a third party? And how could you succeed in thinking about it like a third party? I call this a third eye. So the ability, and it takes some time and some concentration and a lot of intention to do this. But with your third eye, or you being a third party, what's going on. So you can look at it like you're in the argument and you're watching the argument at the same time. So a third party, or your third eye, would look at, what are you doing? And what's your partner doing? And probably because we're like this, trying to figure out, what could they do differently? What could, if it's you with your third eye, what could I do differently? What do I see? Look at this one, keeps saying this thing and getting more angry. Well, this one says those things and gets more angry. So how come they don't stop that? Or I wish they could stop that. So it's that kind of thing, being able and willing to look at what's going on, own your own part of it, notice what your partner's doing, notice what you're doing, and disrupt it if you can. But anyway, so look at these arguments from as a third party, as a third eye, whatever. So when people do that, it is truly a life-changing thing. It really can be a relationship-changing thing. Okay, there's that. Next. Now this might be a surprise. Watch a tearjerker movie. Oh, I thought, what is that? What's going on? But the research has shown that after a sad movie, people had greater feelings of happiness. And I had to really think about that, what I thought might be going on. So I think when you watch a sad movie, a tearjerker movie, it kind of opens your heart a little bit. It opens you into the softer feelings, the empathy. And then as it comes to a resolution, whatever it is, it's over. So you've had an experience in the movie. And then you're back into yourself and you're on your comfy couch or sitting on the bed or whatever you're doing, wherever you're watching. And you can have happiness. Is it, everything's relative? Sure. But it's something that the two of you did together. And so maybe that's it. I'm not sure. The researchers didn't say why. It's just that comes up. So then the last one I'm going to talk about today is find a way to have joy during a commute. And for people who work at home, wait, hold on a minute. I'm going to talk about that in a sec. So one of the things that's so important in work and home and in that transition time is to be able to shut down the work, shut down your thinking about it, and then rest, refuel yourself, because you've expended a lot of energy besides just thought, and then refuel for the next thing you're going to do in your life, which for a lot of people is just hang out with the family or do something with their partner. So maybe listen to music, listen to a podcast, think about things you're grateful for, that kind of thing as you drive home. And if you're still thinking about work, think about work for half the commute, and the second half, do those others. Make and turn it up loud if you have to drown out those thoughts about work. Okay, let's talk about for a sec. What about if you work at home and right out there is family? Okay, and there's no transition. You walk out and boom. So two ways to deal with that. I'm sure there's many, but I'm going to say two. Number one, if you're going to stay in your office, you close down everything. You really close your notebooks if you use notebooks, close your computer, get rid of all the tabs that you had. If you need to make a phone call, do it then. A work phone call. Okay. So that's shut down. There's like a shutdown ritual. And then if what you decide to do is relax in your office, but now it's your relaxing place, which some people do, then maybe get up, walk around for a minute, sit back down, and turn on your video game, or grab your book that you want to read, or meditate, or whatever it is you want to do. And do that for maybe 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 20 to 30. And then what you've done is you've shut one thing down, refueled yourself, done some resting things or relaxation or just fun things. And now you're ready to go out there and you have the energy back, etc. Okay. So the second one would be have a deal with your family that as soon as you're finished work, you're going to go hang out by yourself for a while. You're going to maybe put your shoes on and go for a run, or you're going to go down to the exercise equipment and do some exercise, or whatever it is. You're going to do it alone, and you're going to do it, you're not even having to walk the dog necessarily. So you do that, and it does the same thing. It gives you more energy. It refuels you. You've shut one thing down, and if you're walking and you're still thinking about work, walk faster. Walk until it makes you notice your breathing is, elevated. And, I sometimes say walk to, do it till it hurts, or till the focus becomes on your body. And then you've eliminated the work stuff from your the thing you're focusing on. So do that and then come back refreshed. Okay. So these are all the things I mentioned are about setting an intention. It's sort of what I call the life-changing benefits of setting intentions. I intend to do this to get joy. I intend to do this. I'm going to do it. Just to summarize, research has shown we can have more joy in our lives if we want to, if we decide to. It takes intentions and decisions. It's not a new idea, but it's worth repeating. We don't need to passively accept whatever comes our way. We can do something about it on purpose, intentionally. Okay, so that's it for today. If you want to connect with me to talk about, should we work together, give me one idea that I can do. Here's my phone number, 206-390-5715. Again, 206-390-5715. My email, Carol J. Henry, PhD, @gmail.com. So you can also find me on the website at drcaroljhenry.com. I would love to schedule a call, answer any questions. So let me know. I'll see you next week, and I hope you have a good week and try some of these things. Get a little happiness and joy. It will be great. Okay, thanks so much. Bye now.